Okay. We are live. Yeah.
Hello.
So welcome back to, I think this is day 7. I've lost count of our Get Booked and Busy series. I am so excited for today's interviewee as I get all down deep and dirty in her business and her secrets because she is a Milwaukee, I don't want to say hero, but she out here in these Milwaukee streets, and she's getting it done. She's getting all the accolades, and she's getting all the things. And so I'm excited to hear behind the scenes the efforts and the strategy that she does so she can stay booked and busy. But before we get started, I want to remind you all to go back through and watch the previous series as well, because each one of these interviews is like a live masterclass. You have not heard the same thing over and over again, except for everyone keeps saying you need a system, you need a process, you need a system. But everyone has been bringing something different, something refreshing, something more educating, and something more informative to this interview series. So make sure you go back and watch the replays for those. Masterclass tickets. So tickets to the masterclass are sold out for Thursday's class. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to do a part two, if I want to do a part two, and what that looks like. But those who sent in emails and also text in our text community, we're booked out. We're sold out. So to God be the glory for that. And we're gonna just get right into it because I like to be respectful of people's time. She literally just came back into Wisconsin from being on a for how long?
It wasn't that what 5 days? 5 days. I left Thursday and I came back Tuesday.
Right.
Today.
Yeah. Right. Literally, like just like within the last
Literally.
hour or so. Yeah. So without further ado, I want to introduce our girl Emerald Mills. This is my sister, my therapist, my counselor, my business buddy, my
Ditto.
new restaurant um person, all the things. But most
We're
importantly,
that for
she's
each
the
other
author.
because you definitely my therapist and counselor and system strategist and all of the things. So,
Listen.
we got it
So
together.
yes. Emerald is an author. She is a business strategist, and she is also the founder of an amazing company called Diverse Dining. And it is a professional service company that uses food and the power of storytelling to break cultural barriers. Now, I love that. It's different, it's unique, and you all need to tap into it just for that reason alone. But her business has been featured on several different platforms and several different news outlets, and she's received a plethora of awards, such as, to name a few, the 2021 Diversity Business Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and she's also received the award for the UEDA Bridge Builder Award. Welcome, Emerald.
Hi. Hi. I'm already here.
Right. So let's go to our platforms. Let's share this out so we can get your peeps in here to check out this interview. And then I'll be keeping my phone up because when comments come in on my personal Facebook page, I have to see them from my phone because StreamYard is a hater and doesn't bring up you all's comments. Just FYI, because y'all was inboxing me. Can you see me typing? No, if I don't look at my phone. Okay. All right. So how are you, Emerald?
I'm doing good. I'm not gonna say I need a vacation from my vacation, but I do feel like I need a little longer time away.
We always say
Cause
that, like, I need a
yes,
vacation from my vacation. So what would that second vacation look like? Because I say that as well. Like, I need a break from the vacation I just had.
I don't even feel like I need a break from the vacation, but I feel like I just need a remote working situation. Like I posted it on Facebook earlier today. Quit your job and move to an island. Like I feel like I need to be on a whole island for like at least a season,
A
maybe a
whole
year,
season.
a whole season.
Listen.
So
So
yeah,
we got to get right into this booked and busy because I need to know what kind of life you got going on, what kind of business you got that's keeping you so booked that can afford you to go jet set on the island and run your business from the island. Let's get
girl.
into it. So with, with your diverse dining business, right? You definitely have to. It's not really an appointment based business, but you definitely have to set appointments to have conversations with different directors and different people of higher authoritative positions to introduce and present the classes, the curriculum, and the entire presentation of diverse dining. So let's talk a little bit about what that booking looks like for you. So how do you go about so what do you do to get booked to get in front of the people to tell the diverse dining story?
Well, so now honestly, and before COVID, prior to COVID, we stayed booked and busy because people was coming to different events, and then they would tell people, and then more people would come, and so I really did not have to. At that moment, I didn't have to have. I didn't think I had to have systems and stuff in place to keep my appointment calendar booked and busy. But when COVID hit and everything shut down, my ability to do face to face and in person events took place. Went away. Then I had to come up with other methods, I should say.
Hmm.
And so for me, going through my past attendees, staying in contact with people, continuing to cultivate relationships. But most importantly for me, I've always been a person that hasn't had a problem with investing in myself. And I was at a conference while I was out of town, and they were talking about how we have to invest in where we want to go and not where we are.
Mm.
And so I've always figured out what the thing is that I need to invest in, or that I may need later on. Like, I'm getting QuickBooks before I'm getting a sale, or when I've gotten, very early sales, I'm getting a business coach before I even fully know what I need a business coach for. Like,
Hmm.
I'm the person that's going to invest in my business. I'm trying to, I don't want to work my business like I work a job. So I'm
Hmm.
not trying to be hood rich. I want to be able to be on the island and my business still be making money for me. So I've always invested. I won't say I've always made the right investments or I've always known what to invest in,
Hmm.
but I'm not afraid if somebody tell me that they can provide a solution in my business to spend my money so that they can help me.
Okay.
And so that's what I had to do during this time. I definitely have I worked with you, so that's how you and I know each other. And I also have a sales manager that is literally doing follow ups and helping to process my funnels and all of that stuff for me as well. So I don't believe I have to be the expert in everything. And my business, I desire it to grow so that I can hire the smart people around me to, help make sure that it gets to where it needs to go.
I love that. I love that. Now, I I'm trying to recollect, but I believe you are the first guest who initially had a offline business and you've had to make the shift due to the pandemic to online. I think everyone else pretty much operated in an online business model. So let's get into that because there is a little bit of a different structure, a little bit of a different approach that you take when you're meeting with people face to face. It's a different energy, it's a different vibe. And a little bit of some of that is lost when you're just in the Zoom or the Google Meet or whatever video platform that you're using. Let's talk a little bit about some of the booking shifts that you've had to make. Like, what was the most challenging part about going from just rolling up to somebody's office or to their agency or to their organization to like trying to figure out the tug and pull with swapping emails back and forth to go back and forth with this date versus that date. Like, talk a little bit about what those challenges were to pivot the appointment based aspect of your business from being in person.
Well, again, so the challenge was really figuring out which system is going to be the most comprehensive, and what appointment calendar is going to work best with my website, or it's going to work best with my whatever the case may be. The reality is I always had a calendar system. So I think I started out with Calendly,
Mm, you did.
And which shout out to them because they Black owned, so I might see how I can do something else. But anyway, I
Mm-hmm.
started out with them, and then I realized that my website offered a calendar appointment based system, so I used that. I think I even tried a couple other ones at some point. So I again, this is the point when I say, I know that my follow through, like Lord help me, is that's the biggest things. I'm like follow up, and making an appointment. Like when I started to realize that it was taking me 2 days to schedule an appointment through email, because people will say, "Hey, let's meet," and then you say, "Okay, when?" And they say, "Send me some dates," and then you send them some dates, and by the time you done came up with an answer, it's 2 days done passed. And so when
Mm-hmm.
I saw that early on, it's like, okay, what solutions are available for me to save my time, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to spend 8 hours a week with making calendar appointments. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had those things. Now, what was the biggest challenge I think for me was really figuring out which one was gonna work the best with all the things that I had.
Yeah.
And also, when I hire people, right? Like if I hire people to work on different things for me, which is the best, who knows this system, right, well, so that they can perform what they need to perform for me, um the most effectively, and so
Yeah.
that I can understand it effectively and that they can get the job done. So
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, and sometimes it's still a challenge, but those were the things that were the most challenging, was figuring out the right tool to use, that's going to be the most comprehensive. But I never was one that was going to try to, I got an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm, what I'm saying, I'm trying to organize my appointments. We not doing that, because we just know
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. And one thing I really love about you that I wish was more of a habitual action amongst us all is that you don't have an issue with raising your hand and saying I need help, nor do you have an issue, nor do you not have an issue with outsourcing and delegating tasks that do not bring you joy. I
I wish I could give them
mean,
all away.
yeah, and I can appreciate you for that, for allowing room and space for those who truly enjoy that to operate and function in their gift with that. You are one of many few people who'll be like, who can we bring in?
Yeah,
Who know
if
how to
if
do
I
this?
if I had the millions that all these people out here getting, you know what I'm saying, I would be doing it for
We're
for
not gonna talk
for
about
all.
our cousins. We're not gonna talk about our cousins in this in
No, but
this
I mean real life. I mean, and
because bail
honestly,
money finna be something else. We're gonna have a GoFundMe for all the bail money.
seriously,
MKE, PPE, bail money.
it's
I'm
gonna be
sorry, I
crazy
probably
when I
don't
see the
enough for that.
first GoFundMe for that. That's gonna be pretty sad, but maybe real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some scheduling mistakes that you had to endure so you could overcome without pulling out your hair. What are some mistakes you made with scheduling?
So the biggest one I would say is not really funneling my, whoever I'm making an appointment with, making sure that that person is my ideal customer, making sure that that person is ready to buy or is even thinking about buying, making sure that person, I can't tell you how many pick my brainers that I've, had, and I got on the phone like, so you really didn't want nothing, but you really wanted a lot of something. Like you wanted something, but you didn't want nothing all at the same time. Like, and I've been on the phone with you for an hour, and I realized you just been taking notes, so you can try to go implement this program yourself. Okay, I see what's happening
Child.
here. Yeah, so I had a lot of those calls, and yeah, a lot of those kind of calls, because I did not have the proper system set up in place to help me figure out why people are booking with me or what they really want. And that's one of the things I loved about you, and that's one of the things that made me book with you right away, is that you wouldn't even schedule an appointment with me until I filled out the form. And so I should have known better right when I got going to do the
Why you
same
telling
thing,
my businesses?
but I didn't, and I
Yeah.
let I let people get through, man. I don't want to pivot, but boundaries is a real thing. Boundaries is such a real thing, and every time I'm about to get Okay,
Do
we gonna
it.
make this
Go there.
gospel.
Holy
But
Spirit, have
every
your way.
time I compromise my boundaries, I have regrets. Every time I say, you can come on play on my grass, and I know that I ain't want nobody on my grass. You know what I'm saying? I'm upset about that later on. And so boundaries are a real thing. I was listening to I'm in a master class sidebar thing with Pastor Melva. Shout out with Pastor Melva, and we're reading a book by I think it's John Maxwell book, and it's called it's Lord, I can't
The
think of the name
five
of the book.
principles, the five
No,
laws.
10, not the 5 laws. He wrote that one too, but this one is called
Because
10
y'all in his
ways.
leader. Yeah.
Yeah,
10 ways
something
to
about test
affect
your
habit thing.
no, this one is 10 ways to test your dream. So basically testing to see if your dream is going. If they basically say if you can pass all these 10 tests, then your whatever your dream is going to succeed. And
Okay.
so I was just listening to the chapter that was just talking about one of the tests, which was around us looking at our relationships in our lives, and it talked about giving it a plus or a minus. Is this person you know adding to your life or subtracting from your life? Is this person, and then if they add in, like, get them a score. Now I know that sounds crazy, a little crazy, but the reality of it is that a lot of when we're running a family, managing our families, running businesses, being good, friends and people in ministry, we just don't have time to be surrounded by people that are sucking the life out of us. And so it is so important to, evaluate your relationships to see if it's adding value to you or if it's taken away from the purpose and the mission at hand. And not that you can't have a relationship with them people ever or, anymore, but you really gotta pay attention, because sometimes those things can take more away from you than all the other things.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, boundaries is a real thing,
Well,
whether
I
it's
know
in
you.
business or whatnot.
I know you said that you didn't want to pivot, but boundaries is the main mother discipline that you have to have if you want to set any type of structure in your business. Um, so we're talking about getting booked and getting busy. So you have to have boundaries and standards and limitations with who you want to even be on the phone with. You have to have boundaries with the cutoff of your calendar, right? If you have your calendar already pre-defaulted or set to only take calls from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., then a break, and then let's say 2 to 4, you set that realistically for a reason. And then someone slides in your inbox or shoots you a text, say, hey, can you hop on a quick call at 1:30? Yeah, go ahead. No. Stand on your standards. You know what I'm saying? And so boundaries
That's
is a real
that.
thing. And so going back to Emerald's point, if I have a sign from 11:01 to 1:59, don't stand on the grass during that time. Don't ask me if you can stand on the grass from 11:01 to 2:59, or from 1:59. So boundaries is a really, really vital and underappreciated attribute that we do not invoke enough in our business. And if we just learn how to say no when we need to and say yes when we need to, allow the stress, because I can say this now. Running a business isn't hard. That's probably one of the easiest things that we can do because we're operating in the thing that we love to do. Making decisions is what's hard.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
Self mastery is what's hard.
Self mastery is hard, right? So I know we didn't want to pivot, but that was a very key and vital thing. And we kind of glossed over it in previous interviews, but I'm glad that you want to take a second and kind of drill down into that, because that is the overarching go between with every decision that you make is, what will I allow for this process, and what will I not allow for this process? And if I deviate from this process, what is a sacrificial possible outcome? And that's in every step of your business. Now we're talking about a small step, and that's booking and client onboarding and stuff like that. But it's still a very, very intricate piece. All right, let's get back to booking. So, can you think of? So, give me a time where you had to do a song and dance with getting to lock in a date and time, and then that person ended up not showing up. How did you handle that?
Lock in the date and then they not showing up.
So you all did the email, text back and forth, this day, this time, this day, this time. Nope, I got to reschedule. Nope, let's switch to this. And then you finally lock in a date and time. And then that date and time come, and then, I'm sorry I double booked. I'm sorry I can't make it. Or for whatever reason. How did you handle that?
I honestly can't. Okay, so I did have somebody stand me up before, but I think that was personal. I don't know what that was about. So I think that was personal. We ain't gonna talk about her. But outside of that, yeah, I can't think of a time when nobody was going back and forth with me and then didn't show up. Maybe I didn't think about it, but I can't. I might have did it once or twice when I double booked. It was on accident, like my bad. But I can't.
You thought this was double booked for yesterday?
No, that wasn't. Not see. Don't be live because I'm gonna bust you out. You gotta go back and look at the email.
The email said yesterday.
Because your the top of it said today. Monday, and then the graphic said Tuesday. So
that was a good old copy paste template. I'm like, no, your graphics say Tuesday. I'm like, well, maybe I
saw that. That's why, but yes.
Okay.
Don't do it,
because you don't get a mistake out of me. Please know you're gonna get a quick mistake out of me.
And me too. But girl, this time I wasn't. I was just trying to be sure.
So let's talk about because this is something that you and I have worked on. But I'm gonna let you tell your own story. What was something, because you talked about people getting on the call to only come to realize that they want to pick your brain and go back and take those ideas from the conversation to implement their own thing. So in order to not run into that, you had to create some form of pre-qualification process to kind of pre-screen these people to be like, oh, I ain't talking to you. You know what I mean? So walk us through what that pre-qualification process was like.
Ever evolving, honestly. I mean, it was just ever evolving. I think as business owners, we go through so many phases of like, oh, we're so happy that somebody want to talk to us, to why are you keep calling my phone line, to, what do you really want, child? You know what I mean? Like we go through all kind of phases, I think, as business owners. So the process for me was ever evolving. One, because I was constantly seeking clarity for myself as to like, where my business fully wanted to go. Like I, was building a plane while I was flying it. So, what do I really want to offer? What is the final offer? What is the basic offer? I constantly was fine tuning it. So I was, basically changing that a little bit too. But when I started out, I mean, there are some questions that are pretty standard. I know you helped walk me through the initial form. I've since had to change that because I've gotten really specific after working with enough people to know who I want.
But the packages?
Yes. But what I'm saying is the form. So I do a pre-qualification form. Somebody say they want to meet, then I, now would send that out so that they can answer some questions so I can see what their needs are and have a little bit of a basic understanding. But after working with, several clients, you get to understand what kind of client you want to work with. And so those questions, evolve. I think they've gotten a lot more detailed. I recently had a client, like I do diversity and inclusion training over food, but my goal and my purpose is to create more equitable opportunities for Black and Brown people. So I'm not just trying to do no song and dance, and I'm not just trying to do no training. Just, for the sake of training. I want to know that organizations want to, change the way that they improve the way. Let me not even just say change, improve the way that they do business. I want to know that they want to improve the way that they communicate and relate to people um, all around. And I want to make sure that, I'm not about to, well, I don't want to say just I ain't about to play, but there are some cultural no-nos. You know what I mean? Like I left a job that, you know, I wasn't finna play when I was working a full-time job. So don't hire me and think I'm about to play. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know how to say this professional. Lord help me. But you're not gonna be talking about, you're not gonna see black people or any people a wrong way. You're not gonna dehumanize people and devalue people and then hire me and give me a certain amount of money to go along with that, or to just be okay because you hire me. Because
Mhm.
I'm going to now I'm you know what I'm saying, because I'm there to help. I will try to help you understand where you're wrong. But
Mhm.
if you don't want to hear me, then you probably shouldn't hire me, right? Like
Right.
I'm not gonna come in there and play. So,
Right.
it's better for me if I understand your intention before I say yes to the job, because then I don't have to waste my time and I don't have to waste your time with doing something that's not going to work. Because
Yes.
that's just my decision and choice of who I had to work with. That's one of the benefits of being a business owner and having a business. I get to choose. I don't have to compromise my morals and values and integrity and peace to
Yes.
work with you. You don't got that much money.
Right.
And if I was
Right.
gonna do that, I should have stayed in my job, because they was paying me well and flying me on vacations. You know what I'm saying? Take me on
That's
vacations,
how they
and
suck you
then
in.
and listen, when I had a day off, I had a day off, honey. Don't call my phone. If I called in sick, I was at home. I don't get those days off no more. I don't get those paid
Mhm.
vacations no more.
No one
But
cares
again,
that
I
you
tell you,
died one lung with coronavirus. No one cares.
honey,
Where's my
honey,
stuff?
honey, my voice, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I said how I feel. I spoke my piece on my job. Now they ain't always listen, or maybe a lot of times they didn't. But I ain't have to become nobody else to work there. So that's so real to me, and that's a whole thing. As you can tell, I'm a
That,
little passionate
that's a
about it. But
whole series. Like, oh my God. Because the reason why this is so important, and I mean, I know, but this is also, oh my gosh, but this also ties back into getting, like, being booked and busy, because who we had to be in the work field or workforce is not who we should be and who God designed us to be in real life, in our own skin. And so that transition from employee hat to entrepreneur hat, sometimes we bring a lot of invisible mask
yeah,
and
yeah.
some of that tolerance that we have to deal with. We sometimes we bring that over into the entrepreneur world and still
Lack
think
of
that we have to
confidence and
lack
all
of
of that.
confidence,
Competition,
validity, competition, permission, um,
shade, all
check.
of it.
And you said something. I touched on this. I don't know if it was in yesterday's interview, but in one of the previous interviews, and it was so refreshing to hear you touch on this. As entrepreneurs, we get to choose, because in the workforce, we can't choose who we're sharing a cube with. We can't choose who our director or manager is, or our supervisor is,
What
or who even
project we're gonna take?
what
Mm-mm.
project we're going to take, what clients we're going to be assigned to. We don't get to choose that, but in entrepreneurship, we get to choose, and it all starts with how they get booked and get on our calendar. Like, we can cut them off at the gates. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yes, and I wanna just say, and I said this earlier. I think that even the key in that, and so I talked about knowing what kind of clients you want to work with, and I also talked about um, you know knowing what you're just knowing specifically what you're looking for. And I think that, boundaries. I talked about boundaries, but I think that all of that ties to really knowing yourself. Like, one of the main courses we teach is about self-awareness, and I think that self-awareness for me is just a strength. Like, I know me. You know what I'm saying? I know me. I've learned me over the years. And I think so. I know where I'm going to cut corners. I know where I'm going to go all the way in. I know when somebody on my nerves. I know when, you know what I'm saying, I'm excited and happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I know me. I've taken the time. And though I may not always make the right decisions, I do know where my strengths and weaknesses lie. And so I think that that's another thing that we have to be more honest about. Who am I? Who am I? Who do I want to be in business? What does that mean? And how do I make sure I'm showing up as that person every time I show up? Because we again, that goes back to working in corporate America where we didn't really get a chance to choose, right? We had our code switching and our different voice and all of the stuff we had to do because we had to keep our jobs. But now I get to know who Emerald is and deal with Emerald, you know. And then if I show up falsely for myself, then everything else I do is gonna be false, or you know what I'm saying, or not be all the way authentic and true. So I gotta be honest with me.
Because one thing entrepreneurship will do that people don't even realize, it will expose all of your flaws, your weaknesses, what and where things make you uncomfortable. It's all going to come out. The more you build a really purposeful business, right? Sometimes it start off as I need to make some extra money. And then it may go into, well, what am I really good at? And then it may go into, okay, this has to be bigger than me. How can I make this impactful and really serve a lot of people? And then as you begin to evolve the why, so does it expose and bring more flaws and things up to the surface of things that you just kept suppressed, things you didn't want to deal with, things that you could mask because you were merely an employee and never had to tackle. But when you become an entrepreneur,
Honey, you never gonna be a better business owner than you are a better person. If you deal with your character, you can manage wealth. It's if we want to talk about scriptures, we can go to it. Faithful over little, rule over much. You're not gonna be able to outsmart God because He see you. You're not gonna be able to outsmart people because we see you. You might as well deal with your character. And if your character jacked up, your business is gonna be jacked up. It's just period, the point blank, the way that it's gonna be. And we all got things that we need to work on. The little foxes spoil the vine. But the more we invest in getting to be better and being able to do better, the better our business will be. It's an automatic thing. And you know, one of my favorites, real quick, I'll say this, one of my favorite people who I was kind of trained in outside of the churches I went to was Joyce Myers. And she would talk about putting that shopping cart back, putting them pens back, dealing with, you know what I'm saying, dealing with those things that we do, you know, putting that piece of pie down. You can't rebuke a piece of pie, but now you're gonna be disciplined. We have to build character in ourselves, and that's one of the things that is so undervalued, and it's so, you know what I'm saying, it's so not taken seriously as it should in today's you know, entrepreneur life. But it's the character for me. It's the character for everybody.
It's the seriously, character. Yeah, and it's knowing that just because it's a flaw or weakness, maybe it needs to get worked out with a professional over time. But that piece of you needs to be inserted in your business. And until you work on the healing and the process of that, insert somebody in that weak area until you can heal and work on you. Don't let it fall by the wayside. Because you're going to keep on getting people that's going to come in your inbox and your DMs and your text trying to book a call with you, and you're scrambling around on a calendar because the lack of attention in the past has caused you to have this influx of attention, and it feels good now that people are interested in wanting to talk to you. And so because people are interested in wanting to talk to you and they're coming from all angles to talk to you, you're entertaining the foolishness of not having this process in place. You know, I always reference the story in the Bible about Eve in the garden, and you know how she knew truth but still chose to entertain foolishness when she, right? So, anywho, because we're about to turn this into a whole Bible.
Right, a whole nother. Because I was about to go back in. I'm like, what we talking about again? But no, but it's for real. It's for real.
It's so many biblically based principles that are just staples for business. I mean, it really is. I mean, I can't. Every time I read the Bible, I think of another business idea or strategy, or like, oh, confirmation I was on the right track in my business. Yeah,
It's a great foundation for so many things. I mean, I'm sure, and they talk about how Jesus was a carpenter, and talks about Peter was fishing, and everybody was handling their business. You know what I'm saying? They weren't just sitting
hmm
around twiddling their thumbs. But
right.
it's so many principles that are just they golden, and that's why you see leadership and people who aren't even saved quote the Bible and talk about the Bible, because there's so many principles in there that are just invaluable for your life. But
Well,
I love too what you said about finding people, because God made us so that we don't have all the gifts. Because if I could sing on top of the other things I can do well, no, I'm just kidding.
baby.
I'm just playing. But God made us so that we have to rely on other people. And I think, I had posted a quote that came up in the conference that said 80% of African American businesses are sole proprietors, which means that all of the big majority of our businesses are us by ourselves trying to manage our business, that we don't
Yeah,
have staff, or we can't afford staff, or I don't think it's we can't afford it. I'm gonna say that.
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
debunk that. But we don't have a team.
yeah.
And I can't
That's a
tell
lot.
y'all, yeah, how much I can't, I've already built my team, expanded my team this year, but I'm continuing. Like, that's my whole focus, is to have a team, because can't do it all. Even if I could, I wouldn't want to, because
Right.
it would just take
It's
everything I
not
have in me.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
not
fun.
fun.
It's exhausting. And it's like we touched on this earlier about one of the hardest parts about being an entrepreneur is having to make decisions. If you are the only person on your team, you're making all of the decisions. You're not bringing in any other perspective, any other ideas, any other innovative strategy. Nothing. It's just you and your thoughts. And that can be exhausting, right? And so going back to getting booked, having people on your calendar, let's talk a little bit about how did you figure out the right booking calendar for the needs of your particular business?
The right booking calendar. Well, again, for me, it was based a lot about what is going to sync easiest with my other things. So if somebody goes online and makes a payment, I want them to be able to book an appointment on the same place. I need to be able to find, because I know, I get lost in the weeds and the details, that I need to be able to find information all in one space. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was really looking at what is going to sync best with my CRM, sync best with my website, or be a part of my website. What's going to be the easiest thing, the easiest place for me to get the information. And so that's the decision. I mean, I also had to factor in costs too, right? Like, and you were good about this too. But like, why are you spending all your money on this? Because I'm a person who will invest in myself. I just get to buying stuff, and before I know it, girl, I got an overhead. Like, I got a 10,000 square foot building, and it's like, girl, you don't need all of that now. So figuring out like what tools, a lot of times, and we know this, which is thinking about our cell phone, we underuse a lot of stuff we have. Like, we have all kind of features and services and benefits, but we buy stuff and we don't even take the time to really figure out what can it do, what can it offer. And so I'm on this little commitment right now. And matter of fact, well, it's kind of embarrassing, but I got my little list right here.
That's kind of
Y'all can't see this, but all of the different, this is not just systems, but I got my systems at the top. I got my memberships and clubs that I'm in, my staff, my services, because I'm at a point where I'm taking inventory, and I think we should take inventory often, several times a year, where we're really looking at what have I signed up for, what am I doing, what am I paying for, and is it serving the benefit? Am I utilizing it? Is it helping me? If I'm not utilizing it and it's not helping me, I need to get rid of it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because that's not me being a good steward of my resources if I just got stuff and I'm not utilizing it. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And so that's really where I am. And it's like I said, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's not embarrassing because
It's
I'm
not
self aware.
embarrassing.
I'm
Yeah.
self-aware and I'm working on it, right? Like somebody got the same problem and they ain't working on it and they ain't aware that they
Yeah.
even have the problem. So, I've learned to not be
You
embarrassed,
just
but
gave somebody permission.
exactly, exactly. And that is something that we just need to do, is to take inventory and take inventory. This is something I was going to say earlier when you asked me a question, because I was kind of frustrated, right? Like one point in my business, I think this was maybe about 7-8 months ago.
Mhm.
And I like you said when you read my bio, I had, people were talking about my business. I had served clients well. I got good feedback, but I felt like I wasn't being booked and busy as much as I should be booked and busy, and so
Mhm.
I remember I was having a conversation with God, and I'm like, God, what is going on? Like, why am I not booked and busy? And God said, you don't got time. You don't have time to make no
You ain't
money.
even got time to make the money. You got to make time to make money. Don't let that's the
When I got to looking on my
you're gonna
calendar
make
at
them
all the
free.
membership clubs and cohorts and meetings and all kind of stuff I had on my calendar, I said, well, golly be G, well, my golly G, God is telling the truth. I don't have time. I don't even have no time. I got time. And then on top of that, not only was I doing the most, but then when I started to realize the amount of energy that I was giving to all of the things that I had divided my life up into. I'm a 10. My natural energy is a 10. If you see me at a 6, and most people know me, if you see me at a 5 and a 6, somebody done made me mad, hurt my feelings,
Something's wrong
something going on.
because
You
you
know what I'm
wear it
saying?
on
Or
your
I'm or
face. They
I'm
be like,
or I'm
"What's wrong
or
with
I'm
this?" You be like,
exhausted. Right.
"Yeah,
Like, or I'm
yeah."
exhausted. And
You have
so
mastered burnout. You have mastered burnout.
burnout and stress. But you know what? Not for the 2000s. Like my friend said, the 99 and 2000s, not for the 2001s and beyond. Okay. We ain't nobody, it's not ever that serious. It's never gonna be
Yeah,
that serious. If we can't, no, 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 man.
yeah.
It's never gonna be that serious.
I like how you actually shared about like you took inventory of like where you are and what needs to be streamlined, what needs to kind of just maybe go on the back burner. I'm literally doing the same thing. And I've said to myself, I'm going through all of my expenses and I'm giving everything 3 months. Like all, well, unless it is a operating tool to keep my business operating and functioning, right? So not those monthly subscriptions like emails and stuff like that, but these different clubs and memberships and masterminds, right? I'm giving it 3 months. I should master. So where I currently am, I should be able to get what I need to get in 3 months so I can elevate myself to the next phase, right? And then in the next phase, I'll execute and I'll get the next thing. But I'm not gonna keep being in these monthly things and then going through Facebook group files and medias and documents and siphon through trying to figure out the thing that I need to get, right? And so that too is important to allow, because going back to how can you be booked if you're not leaving any room on your calendar, if you're not making room on your calendar to be available
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
booked,
Yeah.
right?
Or if you just not mentally available. Sometimes we not even mentally available. Let's be honest. And then we be
Let's
running
talk
around
about it,
giving people
because phone
giving
calls are draining. Talking to people
girl.
are draining, and you have to have a mental muscle, a mental toughness. Like, okay, I'm about to get on this call. You got to go on a prayer. Sometimes I got to pray right there on the call. It'd be a whole thing, and sometimes you just check out. You're not there. Yeah,
And if somebody is paying us for our services, they deserve to get 100% of us, right?
yeah,
We shouldn't be showing up raggedly. We
should
can
not.
have a whole conversation about raggedly, but
Yeah,
we shouldn't be showing up raggedly when somebody done paid. You know what I'm saying, for our product or service. And so I don't I'll stay not booked and busy before I get booked and busy and be raggedly. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So
Hmm.
I have to make sure that I'm able to grow at the capacity in which, like grow internally at the same capacity in which I'm growing externally. Because if I'm growing externally, but I don't have the capacity, something is going to die or I'm gonna die.
Come on now, talk about
My
it.
kids
So,
gonna suffer, my house gonna suffer, my
Some
relationships gonna
dropping.
suffer,
The ball is
or
dropping.
I'm gonna suffer. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm gonna suffer. And I rather it, you know what I'm saying, if I can survive and move towards thriving, that's better than me just having a lot going on and I don't even know if I'm coming or going. And so I think that we have to we just gotta take inventory. I think that's what we really talking about. But we just have to take inventory and we gotta slow down. The last thing I guess I'll say on the whole inventory thing is that God put everything we needed inside of us. We got everything we need inside of us. Most of us, and all we got to do, no shade to the millennial generation, but all we got to do is look at the Gen X and the ones coming behind us, honey, because they come with all the confidence. They will slap a logo and a business idea on anything, baby.
Move out the window with it.
And be out there, okay? But
let me tell you something. Baby, I be like, their confidence is off the chart,
honey. And you better not tell them nothing.
What? I'm here for it though.
Me too.
Even if they doing it wrong, even if they don't have everything all structured correctly, the fact that they have the courage, the fact that they made a decision.
Yeah, that girl. Don't keep talking about this decision, girl. Okay.
No, because in my generation, I mean, I have full-blown conversations with women in our generation who buckle over and boo-hoo cry at the weight of making a decision.
Yeah.
Because that decision would be tied to people they love and people they care about, a long-term attachment to material things and all of this stuff. And then you got the Gen X flying out of TikTok with and they getting 50,000 views, and now they got brand ambassadors and they got clothing lines shipping them clothes because they made a quick decision. You know what I'm saying?
We can learn from them if we willing, because they definitely got that decision. And I think we would do better if we realized quicker. And I know your business is all about impact, but if we realized quicker that it wasn't about us, you know what I'm saying? That is that we're a part to play. It's kind of like putting on a production, but then you got a role in the play. But then like if you don't show up, the production gonna be off. But like you weren't the whole production. You were just a member. You were just a cast member. You know what I'm saying?
But
so I think that when we realize
being a producer is you're putting on a show, so the audience who's watching can have the experience.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The whole reason really, really great producers and directors of shows are those who create and understand that the outcome is to move the audience, to move the viewer. It's not us. Right. And that's why I love the impact work that we do. And that's why for the whole year and a half, I've done maybe 2 years. I'm losing track. Because I realize the more that we work on the process of us and the evolution of us and work on going from hurt to healing for us, we then can have a better view of what God has designed down inside of us that he has naturally given us so we can serve other people with it. Right? So the falling in love with the process and the evolution of you is directly in alignment with the level of impact that you're going to make for other people. And that's why impact to increase and impact heard is such a big thing for me, because it took a long time. Surely not as fast as the Gen X's, but it took a long time for me to understand when I work on me and better me, my business gets better. It's just a natural knee-jerk reaction. Like, oh, wait a minute. So
I ain't know that. I didn't know that either. Yeah. I was one of them smart ones. You know what I'm saying? Like I was that little baby that was like, if Jesus is God's son, who is God's daddy? Like I was that kid. So when I started my business, I had the same girl. For real, I'm like, make it make sense.
And then why? And then who? And then what? Yeah, make it make sense.
And when I started my business, I'm like, if it's a get rich quick scheme, I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna master it and I'm gonna do well. And you know what? Every time God sent me right back in the circle, and the finger circled around like this, and then it went right back here,
Yeah.
right back here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
So
it's not,
true.
and that's why I'm okay. Like I know, and I'm gonna say this on air because I don't think I ever said it before, but I know I'm gonna be a billionaire, millionaire. I already know it's coming, but it's coming at the rate in which I can handle it. And so I don't have the pressure to perform, to outperform my character, and to outperform myself. I'm allowing the internal work to happen at the same rate and speed that my business is growing. And
Yeah.
it's such a blessing because then I get to show up and be me. I don't have to associate myself with and stay. And I do have to watch my mouth though sometimes because some people I'll be like, "Ooh, child, what y'all got going on over here?" I be want to turn the
I know
table
you
like
ain't saying
Jesus.
that to me because
What?
whatever class you find, you need to let me know so I can sign up too. Because you know my mouth is.
Yeah, I'm God working on me with that. With that, you know, I mean, I ain't even gonna say I'm getting better because I'm creating spaces to help myself know before I step into it. Because what I
Mhm.
do know is people gonna be who they gonna be, and they're gonna be where they're gonna be. I can't change them, and that's so much wasted energy when you're trying to change somebody's mind when they see you or see something a certain way. There is nothing I can do. My hands are tied. You know what I'm
You
saying? I
know,
just gotta know sooner that that's where you at, and
yeah.
then you'll believe me later on when you see the results, because you know the Bible say we can know people by their fruit. So if it's not fruitful, then we know that God wasn't in it. But if it's fruitful,
So
then you know God was in it.
so you know I'm a hood girl, and I don't have no problem with saying it. And you know I have a lot of people that follow me and friends with me on Facebook that ain't been nowhere around the church. And the late DMX, he said on one of his most recent interviews that he was doing, he was like, know the enemy when you see him,
Mm-hmm.
know the spirit of that person when you see them, because their fruit or lack thereof is going to show, right? If they're a snake, they going to bite you. If they're a liar, they going to lie to you. If they're a thief, they going to steal from you, right? If they're a gossiper, they going to gossip behind your back about you. It is your job to know the enemy in them when you see them, which goes back biblically, to know people by their fruit. And so, part of working on my mouth, because my mouth is horrible, and I don't say it to brag. I
Mouth is
say it.
great.
I,
We
I
gotta
mean, I
change
say
our
it from a
confessions.
we do. We got to take our fashions, but I say it from a place of acknowledgement, because before I wouldn't even acknowledge that my mouth was horrible, and I would just like verbally annihilate somebody and make them go crying to their mama. I'm working on that, right? And so part of working on that is praying and working on the spirit of discernment so I can know spirit when I see it, whether it's good or bad, like good or evil spirit, right? And so that all goes back to picking up on intuition when we're on phone calls with prospects, right? Picking up vibes and feelings and energy when we're on phone calls with potential clients, right? And so all of that ties back into being very, very intentional about being a good steward over the new business that's coming into your house, right? The new guests that you're allowing into your house. And I'm talking about prospect clients get booked on the calendar for potential collaboration, joint partnership, joint venture, work opportunity. We have to work on us so we can allow God to work on us, so we can be a student of um, discernment, so we can sense, hear, feel when something is off in the conversation with the potential prospect. Something about their energy just don't jive right. Something about their attitude just don't mesh well. Something about their behavior just, like, how the old saints say, I can't put my finger on it, but something ain't
Right.
right. That water ain't clean type thing, and that's really, really important to understand, and how to read the temperature of the calls that you're on. Let's talk a little bit about that, about checking the temperature when you're on these calls. Like, what are some things that you look for that you may say, I don't know if this is gonna work out. I don't know if we're
Yeah.
gonna be able
Well,
to do
well,
this together.
for me, I'm gonna keep going back to this self awareness piece. Like for me, it's there's a lot of people that go to people for help, but they already got the answer. So if you already know what you're supposed to be doing and you know how to do it, then why are we on the phone? You know what I'm saying? Like
Make
I,
sense.
I you know, so that's a telltale sign. You know, when you get people on the phone that telling you what you need to do,
Some people need
and
confirmation.
mhm,
So you're gonna pay hundreds of dollars to confirm what you already know.
right,
Okay, that's your
right.
losses.
Right. You know, I've straight up had people that's like, well, you ain't tell me nothing I didn't already know. Well, clearly you didn't know it if somebody else already told you and you didn't change. Maybe you did know it and you still just decided to do the other thing, which is your problem, not mine. You know what I'm
Which is called
saying?
AKA being stubborn. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a telltale sign. You know, I love when I get clients on the phone that can acknowledge where they need help. And I honestly, like, and I tell people this all the time, and I mean it. I would almost rather work with somebody who's racist and knows it and want to change than somebody who never felt like they was racist in their life but can't nobody tell them nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because you
Yep.
don't know everything. And
Yep.
so I think that for me it's the self-awareness is the telltale sign when I get to asking questions, whether it's about you, whether it's about your team, whether it's about your organization, and you got all the answers, you got it figured out, and you just got me on the phone because you just want to hear my voice. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I already know we this not gonna go well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the biggest one. I think another telltale sign would be if people want to shortcut the process. So like they don't want to they want to skip right to the results, or they don't want to deal with the difficult conversations, or they don't want to deal with other people having conversations. They don't want others feedback. They just want to get right to it. You're not gonna get
That's so
right through
good.
it.
That is
Um,
so good.
yeah, yeah.
That point hasn't been made yet in the series. That is so. Oh, that's
Yeah, you're not gonna get right to it. And then I think
so shortcut the process. My
yeah,
God.
yeah, I think that's those are the major ones. I think the other thing is um when you really judgmental. So like you really judging any part of the process. Like we supposed to experience the process, but we're not really supposed to judge the process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we can judge what the process is doing to us, but we can't judge the process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when people are really judgy about people, oh, those people, or oh, this person, or this neighborhood, or this whatever,
Mm-hmm.
this probably not gonna you think yeah, it's probably not gonna be the best situation. Because now again, you can do that, and then if I say, hey, whatever, and you open to reevaluating your judgment, that's still workable. But I would say that those are probably the three um indicators, clear indicators for me when I'm working with a client that is you're probably not you somebody else's. And really a lot of times it don't even be somebody else, it'd be time. And yeah, I think I said the process, but I guess, even to go back to the process part, I think quick fixes. Like, I'm not a quick fixer.
They want that
I
band aid. Even though they
yeah,
bleeding out on the surgery table and need full blown stitches, they want a quick band aid fix.
yeah. I'm not a quick fixer. If you want a quick fix, it's no. I don't mine have to marinate in a slow cooker. So
You gotta
yeah,
slow
if
cook me.
if you want to put it in the microwave, although I am working on a little microwave conversation, but we if you want to put it in the microwave, I probably
Yeah.
yeah, it's not
This
gonna
meal ain't gonna be right for you.
it's not gonna taste good. Because I can give it to you quick, but you ain't gonna like it. Then you're gonna be mad at me, try to give me a bad review. So yeah, no, it's
All
not
on Yelp talking about how bad the food was. Girl, you
right.
a nut.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so as we get ready to wrap up, this has been good. This has been like
I know.
Bible study. This has
You my
been
friend, girl. Because I just got back. I ain't even transitioned fully in the mode, and
I just was like the fact
all
that I'm
kind of
like,
things.
oh, he just like literally touched down. Like she loved me. I feel special.
Yeah, you are indeed
But
special, and I
I
needed
love
this
you and
conversation.
I
This was good
appreciate
for
you.
me.
Yeah, and we've been trying to link up, but we booked it busy, so we could never like literally have our social time. So, but I'll take what I can get, but I definitely need a face to face
Yeah. Oh,
with my.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about
Because
that face
COVID
to
ain't
face,
keeping you
Lord.
down at all. Know that. Trust.
Honey,
COVID ain't keeping
honey.
you down at all.
It's not. I gotta be around the people. That's how I get energized.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So one last question, and then we are going to let you go so you can at least unpack and just stare at the
Right.
wall for 5 minutes.
Bring my bag in the house.
Unpack it even came in the house yet. If you had to share one lesson with the viewers about one of the biggest lessons that you've learned and just the overall journey of like this ever evolving fine tuning process of booking and finding like the right targeted people to enter into a partnership with, what's one of the biggest lessons you probably say that you've learned thus far that has really put your business on a track for increase?
It's
One of the
one
biggest lessons.
thing. One of the
hmm
biggest
Just
lessons.
one. I know you got a bunch. Just one.
Not something I've already said. Something else. Okay, something different.
You have something else.
Biggest lesson. I guess I would probably go to something along the lines of, man, I'm trying to think. What I said all the good stuff. I'm trying to think what else I
You
wouldn't
said
say.
some good stuff. Like I might sell your interview.
That's so funny. Girl, give me a cut. No,
This was good.
I'm glad. No, I guess it would probably be something along trust the process. And I know I talked about processes, but I mean, so I had, and
So
I'll
that was
say
a
this.
lesson. So of you not trusting the process, like that was a lesson.
Yeah, resisting the process. And under
Resist.
one of the things I was gonna say is that, I recently had one of my neighbors came down to help me plant some tulips. If you on my Facebook, you
I
seen
saw
my tulips.
Yes,
But I
beautiful.
couldn't grow. Yeah, we wasn't growing nothing over here. But and I remember, so I helped put the seeds in the ground and cover them up and all of this stuff. And I remember, we had a heck of a winter this year. And so I remember when the winter came, I'm like, them tulips ain't gonna, that is not gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the wrong winter for the tulips. But when
Mhm.
the spring came, those tulips were just as faithful to sprout and grow and do what they do best without any, any additional effort on my part. And
I
so
feel a
I
word.
guess so. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. So it's really the process of what you put in, you will get out. It will come back. It will grow. And that unfortunately, that's for good things and bad things, right? The things that we, and people would say this all the time, and I was trying to hope that it didn't necessarily apply, but like, the attitudes that we have and the things that we do that's wrong to people, it's gonna come back. So, sow in your season to sow good things. And then when the season, when the time comes for those, when that appointed time for that thing to grow is there, it's going to grow. So, I mean, and again, it's so many lessons in that with picking the right
It's so
soil
many
and
lessons in
doing
that
all of the stuff. But
because I'm
trust
even
the
hearing like
process.
it's so much in that. Oh my God, this can be a whole message for a pastor on a Sunday. But but even in that, like you said, like we had a bad winter, we did, and even when there's bumps in the road, and we think that things will go a different course. You know what I mean? Because of one-off situations or because of temporary moments of discouragement.
Yes, yes. And
Even
what if
in
I would have went up there and tore up them
still
flowers?
trust. And what if you went up there and told them because it's a bad winter? Even in that, you still have to trust the divine process of what it is going to be, and just keep toiling and keep nurturing and keep watering and keep being attentive. Girl,
Yeah, yeah,
you don't here
yeah.
and shut the whole thing down.
It's a whole thing, girl. I done gave myself a word. Now I done preached myself happy
Listen, come on, Evangelist Emerald.
to the nations. No, just kidding.
Seminary is shortly on your heels, ma'am.
Girl, please don't send me the We gonna
Seminary is
marketplace
certainly
minister.
on
We
your
gonna
heels.
marketplace minister and help people understand. I'm gonna sow the seeds. I'm gonna do the parable like Jesus did. The seed sows in the parable. Yeah, we not going. Okay, Lord. Whatever you
You
say.
you natural born with it. It's fine. I start my discipleship training on a 12th. So pray for me because you know the enemy is gonna be upset every time I open my eyes. He's gonna be
I
upset
will.
because it's
I
about
will.
full blown converting the folks.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely will keep you in prayer, man. Cause man, you know, and that's the thing. Like I don't want to keep on talking because I know we passed interview time, but I said it
Yes.
before. You know, when you realize that you're a part of a bigger production, and that you need to help the show keep going, or you're a part of a field, and you don't want to be the hole in the in the fruit or in the yard or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like what you do is going to yield a return. You just have to be faithful. You have to go through the process. And when I tell y'all about them flowers, digging up them rocks, putting that dirt down, like it was rocks under the soil when I not understood that parable like no other, because we was digging up big rocks and dirt and boulders, and it
Childhood
was it
hurt.
was
My God.
listen, it wasn't no easy process at all. But to see how something beautiful can grow out of that, like it's just beautiful to go, to go past and watch and see. And now they'll come up every year. I have to do a little bit of tending to it, but they'll come up every year. You know what I mean? Just from
Because of
that
the
one,
foundation that was laid.
that foundation, the foundation that was laid, honey. So we got to build the right foundation in our businesses. We have to trust the process. We have to have
And a
boundaries.
good
We have
nurturing system. A good
this.
having all the right tools and the
Yes,
right
yes,
timing
yes.
and the
We
right
have to
process
have
and the right
boundaries. We
system
have to
because you have
know
to
what
be
kind of flower we are and know ourselves
you're
so
gonna
we
make me
can
run around this
so we
room.
can bloom. Yes, all of the things. All of the
That was
things.
the
Yeah, for
word.
real. Mhm.
The doors of the church is now open. Bring your tithes and
I'm gonna put my
offerings.
cash app so y'all can. I'm just kidding.
Right, for real. Cash out, but that was the word. Emerald, I knew that you was gonna come on here and bless this thing all the way out. I appreciate you. I love you. This was a full blown class.
I love you too. If y'all didn't, I hope I helped someone. And if you didn't, I promise y'all I helped myself. But I hope I helped y'all because I wasn't
Cause you
helping me.
sure helped me. You sure helped this little heathen over here. No, but this was so good. The parables, the vulnerability, the clarity, the just unmasking, the permission, the validity, all the things was literally unpacked in this 160 minutes. So I love you. I do. Thank you.
And okay, can I say one more thing? I know this is a wrap up. I love you too. But I will say this because all of the everything that I said, and I know I'm talking about it just as free, but when I tell y'all, I talked about the rocks, but the rocks were in my life too. And we constantly got rocks that we have to dig up. But I'm gonna say this last thing is that um this is not a process to go through alone. And even though we all have God, or whatever we believe in, I don't know. Y'all might not, it might be something else. But don't try to do this work alone. We not meant to do that. That 80% statistic really, 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 really bothered me. I was bothered. Because we not supposed to do this alone. And when I say alone too, like it's such better. It's so much better. The things Erica know about my business, the back end, the other side of Disneyland, that she knows about my business. It's such a blessing that I have her as a friend that she can see that side and that I don't have to worry about somebody on the outside that can't handle seeing that side, seeing my side, because I've willingly exposed it to other people that see my back end. And I have a lot of other people. Like it take a whole lot for this production to keep it moving, I will say. And I haven't even grown to the level in which I know that I'm going. But I have a lot of people that provide back end, behind the scenes support. And I don't always get it right with them or with myself. But I'm grateful that I have people around me that can provide that level of accountability for me. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's like, oh, please don't judge me. It's like when somebody ring your doorbell and come over your house and you wasn't expecting it. It's like, oh, girl, don't judge me.
Let me tighten up real quick.
But and that'd be everything. Okay, Lord.
I'm like, just put some clothes to sit down.
Right. But it's great to have that in relationship. And so I really encourage people, you talking about you a business owner by yourself, it's because you want to be by yourself. It's enough
And
people
that's
out
not
here to
cute.
help you.
There's nothing cute about it. Like once you get to a certain level, I was gonna say, God forgive me.
It's never cute. It ain't cute when you
Once you
first
get to a
starting out.
level like where Emerald and myself is at, where we appreciate the help and we appreciate teams, we appreciate mentorship and not taking this journey alone. Now, when I'm going to speak for me, I'm not going to speak for Emerald, but when I see people, I'm a boss and I'm a one woman show. I'm like, you look crazy, and you're going to cap out, like you're going to tap out. You know what I mean? And there's nothing cute about it, right? But
Yeah, it's not
anywho,
at
I
all. Yeah,
digress.
so that was my last little piece too. I just would really say get you some people around you. I was in a cohort, and me and the ladies from the cohort, we still, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to Spark, the after set, Spark. But like, we still meet once a week, and we be on the phone holding each other accountable. Part of the reason why I just got back from vacation is I was on the phone with my Spark members, and they like, Emerald, book it. Make sure it gets booked before you get off the phone. Because we know you need a vacation because you ready to smack somebody. So let's just get that done. You know what I'm saying? But if I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have people who,
Will push
were
you to
that
hit
in
the
my
button.
life, I would
Yeah.
miss out, and I would make mistakes that I don't have to make. So I encourage people to get around some people that are going to push you, and not just tell you go, because sometimes somebody need to tell you sit down.
Say stop, stop,
Sometimes
stop. Sit
sometimes people
down.
need, right. Sometimes somebody need to tell you just have a seat. Sometimes somebody need to tell you you're not right. You're
Mm-hmm.
wrong. Somebody needs to tell you you need to evaluate that again. Somebody needs to tell you you need to go home and spend time with your children and your wife or your husband. Somebody needs to tell you the truth. So
Come on.
don't just think it's all the good stuff. Go, go, go. That look good. You won an award and your life is a mess. Somebody needs to be able to tell you the truth about what you about to lose and sacrifice if you don't get your life together. So please have you some accountability in your life. Please.
I'm gonna say this one last thing, and then I'm gonna close. To piggyback on what Emerald just said, like you need people in your life who can check you with all the love that they have in their heart, but you won't be able to receive that check in, receive that tongue lashing with love, if you don't work on you to embrace constructive criticism without shutting down, without having a whole spasm, without having a whole tantrum like a little kid, but really be an adult and say, I received that, sis. I appreciate you for recognizing that and being and loving me enough to say, go swim, sit down. Go swim, take and book you a vacation. Go swim, hug them babies, and take your husband out to dinner. Like you know what I mean? But it takes the process of the working on you and whatever flaws and things that you have about being talked to and or being scolded as a child that you now have you feel some type of way about it. And you don't like when people tell you what to do until you get
Exactly.
over that. Okay,
And then you look
because
around,
we
ain't
can do
nobody
this
there.
thing all night. Listen, E, we
I
can do
will
this.
give y'all my link, my book, Rejection Uprooted. Might help y'all.
Hey,
But
plug. Go ahead, plug it, sis. Go to www.
fordiversedining.com in the shop, Rejection Uprooted. We go through those 5 principles: awareness, acceptance, accountability, action, authenticity, all of it. So you can walk through that process by yourself first, and then you can bring along some people with you. Because it's so raggedy to not be self-aware. And they say that, 83 survey I found out recently said 83% of people think they're self-aware when only about 13% are. So don't be in the other percentage of people who really think that you know yourself and you really don't. You know, read my book, then maybe go let somebody do an anonymous survey on the people who are around you and get some feedback on how you really showing up on a regular basis. So
So listen, you
thank you for
guys.
that.
I want you all to go and follow Emerald's personal page on Instagram, and I want you to follow her business page on Instagram for Diverse Dining, and then I also want you to follow her on Facebook. Um, and I want you all to just look at her pictures and her stories on how her smile was genuine, her laughs and spending time with her sister was genuine, and that wouldn't have not happened if her accountability partners in her mastermind or cohort pushed her to take a break and to take a breath and just live in the moment. Y'all go get her book because it will save your life and change your life. Until next time, be a blessing to others, and you too will be blessed. Emerald, hold on.